unwaith ydw i yn diflannu o'r sgrin, gei di gychwyn arni. Ond no pressure, fatha, os ti eisiau cychwyn eto, neu os ti'n baglu neu beth, rwy'n ni gychwyn eto, diolch bwys ymwneud.
Iawn, dwi'n mynd i gorau reid yr sgrin narratif i drosto fo wedyn, so dwi'n cymryd bod chdi'n stopio pan da ni'n cyrraedd o diwedd, wyt?
Do, na i stopio, ynddo.
Oce. Champion, gan i weld lle ni.
Oce, ti'n barod?
Yep.
Oce. Pob hwyl.
O gychwyn cyntaf cyfnod y pandemig hyd at heddiw, un o brif amcanion gwe yw cefnogi dysgu a chynnydd holl blant a phobl ifanc Gogledd Cymru. Rydym wedi gwneud hyn mewn nifer o ffyrdd. Byddwch yn clywed mwy o fanylion penodol ymhellach ymlaen yn y cyflwyniad. Rydym i gyd wedi gorfod addasu a newid. Mae'r un peth yn wir i ni fel gwasanaeth ac y bu i athrawon, staff cymorth ac arweinwyr mewn ysgolion. Mae addasu yn air allweddol yma, oherwydd nid yw popeth sy'n ymwneud ag addysgu wedi gorfod newid. Mae egwyddorion ac arferion da addysgu yn dal i aros rhywun fath. Yr her fu addasu ei gyflwyniad. Mae ysgolion a gwe wedi gorfod edrych ar addasu strategaethau addysgu effeithiol ac edrych ar y ffordd orau i'w cyflwyno'n ddigidol pan fo angen, a hefyd helpu rhieni i gefnogi ac addysgu eu plant. Rydym fel gwasanaeth hefyd wedi darparu ystod eang o adnoddau addysgu i ysgolion ar gyfer pob oedran mewn gwahanol ffurfiau ers mis Mawrth 2020. Ar ddechrau'r cyfnod clo, o fewn cyfnod byr iawn o amser, bu i ymgynghorwyr gwe sefydlu a phoblogi gwefan o adnoddau i helpu athrawon gyda dysgu o bell. Mae hyn bellach wedi esblygu i'r amrywiaeth eang o adnoddau sydd ar gael yng nghanolfan adnoddau gwe sydd wedi cefnogi ysgolion drwy gydol cyfnod y pandemig. Rydym yn parhau i ddatblygu ac ychwanegu at yr adnoddau yma. Yr her fwyaf i bawb a'r agwedd yr ydym wedi gorfod ymgyfarwyddo ag o yn gyflym ydy dysgu digidol. Mae staff gwe wedi ymchwilio ac uwch sgilio eu hunan ac wedi chwarae rôl allweddol wrth gefnogi athrawon a chynorthwywyr dysgu gyda sut orau i ddefnyddio gwahanol offer digidol i gefnogi eu haddysgu. Yn ogystal ag adnoddau, mae gwe wedi rhannu canllawiau ac ystyriaethau i ysgolion i'w cynorthwyo neu cynllunio ar gyfer addysgu a dysgu effeithiol yn ystod y cyfnod heriol hwn. Unau ar ffurf dysgu o bell, pan fydd dysgu yn digwydd yn y cartre, neu ddysgu cyfunol, lle mae'n gyfuniad o ddysgu yn yr ysgol ac yn y cartref. Un enghraifft o'r canllawiau ac ystyriaethau hyn yw'r un sy'n canolbwyntio ar adborth. Ei nod yw i helpu ysgolion gynllunio sut orau i gyfathrebu adborth i ddysgwyr a rhieni, i gyfathrebu y gwerthfawrogiad am eu hymdrechion, i ddathlu a synnu sylw at beth sydd wedi cael ei wneud yn dda a llwyddiannau yn ei gwaith, a rhoi cyngor ar sut i wella'u gwaith ac ysgogi cynnydd pellach. Wrth gwrs, roedd y canllawiau bob amser yn rhoi ystyriaeth ddwys i les dysgwyr, i les i'r rhieni ac athrawon, a pheidio gorlwytho unrhyw un a chawsu pryder yn ystod yr amser anodd yma. Roedd yn cynnwys ystyriaethau ar bethau fel y cyfleoedd digidol ar gyfer rhoi adborth, a phwysigrwydd adborth llafar, a hefyd mynd i'r afael ar heriau o roi adborth ysgrifenedig i ddysgwyr pan nad oeddent mewn sefyllfa dosbarth arferol. Mae'r canllawiau wedi addasu drwy gydol y cyfnod mwyn diwallu anghenion ysgolion wrth iddynt symud drwy'r cyfnodau gwahanol o fod ar agor neu ynghau, a chan gadw lles pawb yn flaenoriaeth bob amser. Mae cydweithio ar sawl lefel wedi bod yn allweddol i lawer o waith gwe ers cychwyn y pandemig. Yng nghyd-destun dysgu ac addysgu, rydym wedi cydweithio'n genedlaethol gyda chonsortiau eraill, Llywodraeth Cymru ac Estyn ar ganllawiau a modelau cenedlaethol i gefnogi addysgu. Canllawiau dysgu o bell yn y cyfnod clo cychwynnol, lle roedd pawb yn gweithio o adref, ac yna canllawiau dysgu cyfunol pan ail agorodd ysgolion ac y bu cyfuniad o addysgu yn yr ysgol ac yn y cartref yn digwydd. Rydym hefyd wedi annog cydweithredu rhwng ysgolion a'i gilydd i roi cymorth i'w gilydd a rhannu arferion dda ac adnoddau. Gwelir enghreifftiau o hyn yng nghanolfan cefnogi gwe ac yn fwy diweddar yn ein llyfrgell adnoddau. Mae ymgynghorwyr cefnogi gwelliant unigol a thimau o ymgynghorwyr wedi gweithio gyda phob ysgol ar draws y rhanbarth, i gyd ar wahanol gamau yn eu taith o addasu heb ddysgu, ac anghenion gwahanol o ran cefnogaeth. Mae cydweithio a chynllunio rhwng ymgynghorwyr wedi sicrhau cysondeb yn y gefnogaeth ac mewn negeseuon a rannir gydag ysgolion. Mae ymgynghorwyr unigol yn gweithio gyda'u hysgolion a'i clysterau gan roi cefnogaeth bwrpasol ac amserol yn rheolaidd. Mae ysgolion wedi croesawu hyn. Ein camau nesaf ydy parhau i gefnogi ysgolion gydag addysgu a dysgu drwy gamau nesaf y pandemig a gobeithio ddychwelyd i ddosbarthiadau, a sicrhau bod dysgwyr yn gwneud cynnydd. Parhau i gefnogi athrawon i ddatblygu ac esblygu addysgu a dysgu ond ngoleuni'r hyn rydym ni wedi ei ddysgu dros y flwyddyn ddwytha. A hefyd gweithio ochr yn ochr ag ysgolion i baratoi ar gyfer cwricwlwm i Gymru yn 2022.
Diolch Stella, gret.
Iawn, oedd yn oce?
Oes, spot on, diolch. Na i jyst newid yr un Cymraeg yr un Saesneg o'n.
Okidoki. Pam ti'n mynd yn nerfus am ond chdi a fi sy'n, o mond fi sy'n marili de? Craici.
Mae'n jyst yn rhywbeth yn mynd i arfer o fath yna diod.
Och,
Ie. Once I disappear, now it's turned into the English.
Okidoki, I gotcha. From the very beginning of the pandemic period through to the present day, one of our main aims in GWE is to support the learning and progress of all the children and young people of North Wales. We have done this in many ways. You will hear more specific details later on in the presentation. We have all had to adapt and change. The same is true for us in GWE as a service as it has been for teachers, support staff and leaders in schools. Adapt is a key word here, because not everything regarding teaching has had to change. The principles and practices of good teaching remain the same. The challenge has been to adapt its delivery. Schools and GWE have had to look at adapting effective teaching strategies and look at how they can be best presented digitally where necessary, and helping parents to support and teach their children. We as a service have provided schools with a wide range of teaching resources in various forms since March 2020. When lockdown first started, within a very short period of time, GWE advisors set up and populated a website of resources to support teachers with distance learning. This has since evolved into the vast range of resources now available in the GWE Resource Centre, which have supported schools throughout the pandemic period. We are still developing and adding to these resources. Digital learning has been the biggest challenge and the sharpest learning curve for us all. GWE staff have researched and upskilled themselves and have played a key role in supporting teachers and teaching assistants with how best to use different digital tools to support their teaching. Alongside resources, GWE has provided schools with guidelines and considerations to assist their planning for effective teaching and learning during these challenging times. Whether it is in the form of distance learning, where learning takes place from home, or blended learning, where it may be a combination of learning both in school and at home. An example of the guidelines and considerations is one which focuses on feedback. Its aim is to help schools plan how best to communicate feedback to learners and parents. to communicate the appreciation for their work and efforts, to celebrate and highlight what's been done well, but also to advise on how to improve their work and motivate further progress. Of course, the guidelines always take into account the well-being of learners, parents and teachers, and not to overload anyone and cause anxiety in what is an already stressful time. It contained considerations for the digital opportunities for feedback, the importance of verbal feedback, and addressed the challenges of providing learners with written feedback when not in a normal classroom situation. The guidelines have been adapted throughout the period to meet the needs of schools as they move through the different stages of school closures, and with well-being of all remaining paramount at all times. Collaboration on many levels has been key to much of GWE's work since the beginning of the pandemic. In the context of teaching and learning, we have collaborated nationally with other consortia, Welsh Government and Estyn on national guidelines and models to support teaching. Distance learning guidelines in the initial lockdown period, where all learning was taking place at home. And then blended learning guidelines when schools reopened and there was a combination of teaching in school and at home, depending on the situation regarding COVID in different schools. We have also encouraged collaboration between schools to provide support for each other, share good practice and resources. The GWE Support Centre and more recently the GWE Resource Library contain evidence of this. Individual and teams of supporting improvement advisors have worked with all schools across the region, all at different stages in their journeys of adapting teaching and all with different support needs. Collaboration and planning between advisors has ensured the consistency of support and of messages shared with schools. Individual advisors work with their schools and clusters, giving bespoke and timely support on a regular basis. This has been well received and appreciated by schools. Our next steps are to continue to support schools with teaching and learning through the next stages of the pandemic and hopefully returning to classes, ensuring that learners make progress. Continue to support teachers to develop and evolve teaching and learning in the light of what we've learned over the past year. And also work alongside schools to prepare for the delivery of the curriculum for Wales in 2022.
Thank you very much, Stella. That was perfect, thank you.
Great start. Thank you. A na I dweud, lleiffar oedden nhw de. Tip worth strategies oedden nhw, dwi'n cofio be oedden nhw wan li. O'n i'n cael